So let's stay with the dog example. So that gets accidentally triggered during a dinner 20, 30 years later. And we have those same kind of emotions again. And if that kind of emotion comes up in our lives cyclically, like the longer we hang around, there seems to be cycles, longer stretch cycles. So wouldn't it make sense that I proactively go and say, okay, I remember that at 5, a dog bit me. And wouldn't I want to release that instead of waiting for it to get triggered?
Well, you could.
And then replace it with, of course, what I want in the current present and my preference.
That feels logical to us. But here's the thing about the way the law of attraction works. If it's really active in your vibration, then a dog is going to bite you every day. And the fact that the dog isn't biting you every day means that it's not active in your vibration. It falls into a category where we say, just don't go looking for trouble. In other words, there's no reason to go looking for trouble because what's active in your vibration will show itself to you. And if you catch it at the early subtle stages, when Jerry and Esther were traveling in the monster buses for about a decade and a half, they were moving around the country in these big buses. And Esther did nearly all of the driving. Jerry was a really good navigator. Jerry also liked to work while they drove, and Esther didn't. It's really nice moving around. And they were never involved in an accident. They never witnessed an accident. They rarely even came upon the broken parts of an accident that had happened. But when they started finding some broken parts of an accident that happened, Jerry would say, time to clean up our thoughts about being on the road, because it's just getting a little too close for comfort. He knew how it goes. In all those years, the bus only got wet once. They were in the parts of the country, they planned where the weather was good. They made decisions. They followed their inspiration. When they'd get an impulse to stop early, they would. In other words, when you care about how you feel, and feeling the best you can feel is what matters the most, then you don't go looking for trouble. And when you don't go looking for trouble, you don't find it. But what you are talking about, we really agree with this. Getting out ahead of things is really wonderful. By getting out ahead of it, we mean deciding how you like to feel and then deliberately finding the feeling place of things that feel good so that you calibrate and set your tone, set your vibrational frequency to things that feel good. And when you are consistently doing that, the law of attraction cannot rendezvous you with things that are different from that. It's a very precise, very accurate law. And so if you get surprised by something, it means you have it active in your vibration without knowing that you do. Then it's a good time to clean it up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can find it. Hopefully you can find when the dog bit you. So then, it gets cleared up and you can replace it with stuff you want and the feelings you want.
The conversation about a dog biting you, it's a real conversation. Have you been bitten by a dog? Dog's never bitten. Esther, have you been bitten by a dog? No? So you're just dragging us through this for the fun of it? So, early in Jerry and Esther's experience, they were in Buffalo, New York. If you've been listening to us for a while, you'll remember this. It's a story we told a lot back then. And Jerry liked to turn on the television at the end of the day to see what the forecast was and so forth for the weather. And the news usually preceded it in those days in the hotel room. And they were in Buffalo, and there was a local programming about, it was the week at the high school where the field house, the football field actually, they dragged all kinds of broken and bloody vehicles. And the student body, this was the week that they scared kids about drinking and driving. It was called something that sounded better than that, but that's what it was. It was the week where they scared kids about drinking and driving. And so the kids were paraded around to look at the evidence of what happens. And then each of them, the entire student body, was assigned a position in this week-long dramatic play that they all played. You got killed, you got maimed, you weren't in a car. Everyone was given an assignment. Parents too. You're having a funeral. The whole town was involved in this. You're writing notes. You're the florist. Everyone was assigned a position. And Jerry asked us what we thought about it. And we said, they mean well. but they are activating a fear, and they are staying with it long enough that it's going to be set in really good, that is not going to serve anybody that participates in this exercise. It went on long enough, and it was dramatic enough, and it was real enough. It was like everybody in the town got bitten by the dog over and over and over and over that week. Well, that was not their intention, but what is it that makes people think that if I push hard enough against what I don't want, that I will get what I do want? It defies the law of attraction, because there's no such thing as no in this universe is based upon attraction. There's only attraction and inclusion. There's no exclusion. So when you push away something that you do not want, you're actually saying yes to the thing you don't want. You're actually inviting this thing that you do not want. And so that's why we say we wouldn't go looking for trouble. And so we took this a little further into a sillier, easier to enjoy conversation where we said, so you've lived enough life to know who you are mostly and what you want. So you make a big sign, put your picture on it, carry it everywhere you go. And it says, if you're meeting me, this is me, these are the things that I need from you in order to feel good. So when you see me, just do these things and don't do these things. Don't do these things and do these things. And of course, that's ridiculous because nobody wants to carry a big sign around, and most people you think might not read it. And dumb, we know, ridiculous. And yet, the alternative is so simple. Establish your point of attraction that law of attraction will yield to, will encourage. Step 1 helps you to make that sign, but step 3 is where your real work is. So as you walk around in insecurity, a dog will not bite you. If you walk around afraid, then you are susceptible to that. And it is simpler than going back through every possibility of everything that everybody has lived and working your way through it so that you're clean as you move through life. Because first of all, the path of least resistance or the path of most allowance is a sort of wily thing. It's changing all the time as you are evolving. Our friend who is wanting to find a more adventurous thing than what he's been doing for 25 years understands that path of least resistance, it's been secure and lovely and profitable and wonderful for a long, long time. But as life goes on, he's asking for more. And so now path of least resistance has changed. Adventure is more sought after than security. The path of least resistance changed. That's what we're talking about. The law of attraction is responding to how you feel. How you feel is about your relationship with what your inner being knows you want and what you've got actively focused. And we're just going to say a whole lot of people have a whole lot of things that are active within their vibration that is not active in their inner being's vibration, and they feel uncomfortable, and then the law of attraction gives them more. And it seems cruel to humans who don't understand it. It's almost like the law of attraction is saying, of course it isn't saying anything, it's just being, but it's like the law of attraction is saying, oh, you don't like that? Here's some more. Oh, you don't like that? Well, here's some more. Oh, well, you have a basic insecurity? Well, here it is on this subject and this subject and this subject and this subject. And so then there are thinkers that say, with some measure of logic, well, we need to have classes on how to not get over there and how to not get over there and how to not get over there. And we say, just make the mess and then clean it up. Make a mess, know you made a mess because it doesn't feel good, and then clean it up because you want to feel good and show yourself that you can.